Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1.
Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, good morning and welcome to a Monday edition as the JP Peterson Show continues the summer road show. Today we are in beautiful Nashville. Yes, for the CMAs this weekend. Look at that, Nikki. Look at that. Downtown Nashville, baby. We are high atop the Holston House, which is one of the really cool hotels in downtown Nashville, historic hotels. They got a beautiful rooftop here. We got a pool over here.
Look at that. Look at that.
A pond. Pool. Pond be good for you.
I know a building when I see it. I see the Country Music Hall of Fame in the background.
Oh, look at you.
With the wavy roof. I see it.
Yep.
Bridgestone
That's
right next to it.
Convention Center. We were over there the other day seeing a little Rascal Flatts. The boys are back together. They toured this year and they did a little Q&A. Tell you about that. That was really cool. So we're going to tell you all about CMA Fest. We're going to get into the Rays. And interesting weekend for the Rays as they take 2 of 3 from the Fish. And Evan Longoria retires a Ray. I haven't checked the wire yet, but have we traded him yet? No?
Did Stu pay him for the for his one-day contract or no?
I wonder if he paid his expenses. I wonder. They were all chummy, though. We don't want to take anything away from Longo, right?
No.
A few cringe moments, to say the least. But
these things are always going to create a few cringe moments, little awkward moments for times.
Did anybody ask, like, Stu, do you regret trading him the year after you signed him to a $100 million contract? Do you regret that at all? We didn't get no. Okay.
That trade was fun. When it happens, I think even all of us were like, Denard Span? Like, I mean, I love Denard Span. I mean, Tampa dude,
Yes, absolutely.
But at that point in his career, it was like,
yeah, we know what that was about.
Denard Span, failed prospect, and Christian Arroyo, and that's it. That's it for Longo, really? But
that's all you get.
That's all you get. So they're not all winners.
Maybe some free hotel coffee. It's coffee, by the way. I mean, I've had enough of my Red Solo cups this weekend. Trust me.
Look what I'm pulling here. A Budweiser
nice
koozie on my coffee here.
Very nice. And I'm drinking coffee out of a Red Solo cup, as far as you know. And I'm wearing a cowboy hat. How about that, Nick?
I see that. I saw it all over your social media this week.
How about that?
Huh? Cowboy hat.
I just had to pull the trigger. I mean, when in Rome, right? You gotta act the part.
Yeah, I'm surprised you're even. I got to be honest. I'm surprised you're even here this morning because when I wasn't really aware until the end of the week that you were going to Nashville, and when I was like, oh, I don't know if he's going to make it to Monday.
Well, it's interesting because I've always wanted to do a CMA festival. You know what a huge country music fan I am, almost as big as you, actually maybe more. I've always wanted to do a festival, but it just I'm not huge on the big crowds and all that stuff. But I said, what the F, let's just go. We just kind of did it on a whim. We didn't have any tickets, no packages or anything like that. We just did it on a whim, got a hotel, and just cheap flight, come on over and hang out. And we walked into a ton of awesome stuff. And honestly, it wasn't crowded. It never, a couple of times on Broadway, but it never really felt that crowded. I've been here on weekends that felt more crowded. There weren't huge lines for the bars. The bars weren't crazy packed. It was actually really, really nice. And we went over to the convention centers where they had the Fan Fest set up, and they had this really cool where they were doing some of the Sirius XM country music podcasts, and Rascal Flatts was there, and Ashley and I are huge Rascal Flatts fans, and they obviously broke up. Joe Don Rooney went a little cuckoo there for a little bit. Their lead guitarist. A lot of stuff going on there, and he was there, by the way. He was there for the Q&A, and I was like, I know we're not going into some of those questions, but there was a lot of things going on with that. So anyway, he was there, and they were telling stories of how they first came together. Now Printers Alley, right? You know what Printers Alley is? Printer's Alley is just off of Broadway, and it's a very famous little area, little dive bars, honky tonks, where a lot of people got started, and just playing for tips. And Gary and Jay and Joe Don were telling these stories about how they came together. One night, their guitarist couldn't make it or something, and Joe Don filled in, and Gary, the lead singer, was like, who's this freaking putz? I don't know who the hell this guy is. And they were like, how does he even know what we play? And he was all pissy about the whole thing. And he was telling a story that he was still throwing newspapers, the Tennessean at the time. He was like the world's oldest, like 27 years old. He's still a paper boy. He was throwing the Tennessean, and he was just working these bars. And then they go into Cumberland Road, this song, and they say, who's going to take the high? This is, way back when. And they tell this story. And the great Rascal Flatts harmonies were born in that moment. And so they just start, in the interview, they broke out doing the harmony, like a cappella, of Cumberland Road. They did like the whole chorus. And it's just like moments like that I just think are so cool. These guys are so freaking talented. Sometimes there's a lot of flash and, all the, BS that goes along with any entertainment, country music less, obviously. But, just to hearing the raw talent and singing, just in a moment like that, they could just pop out a 3-part harmony of Cumberland Road like it's nothing, like it's nothing. You're just like, damn, that's good. That is really freaking good.
I think you nailed it though last night, because you were sending me some video.
Yeah.
From your seat there at I guess you were in the Titans Stadium.
Yeah, which is like a very poor man's Raymond James Stadium.
Yeah.
They're building their dome stadium right next door. I think it's actually going to be ready for
so it's not on the same exact site, obviously. So it's
it's right. Yeah, well, it's right next to it. They're building it right next to it.
But yeah, verbatim, you sent me a message. You said Bailey Zimmerman and someone named Tucker Wetmore just took White Boy D-Bag to a new level. And I'm so proud that you spotted it out. I'm so proud that you spotted it out, because I've long held I don't know who Tucker Wetmore is, but I've held that opinion about one Bailey Zimmerman and some others.
Yeah.
But then you sent me a video of the great Zach Top. So glad you got some exposure to the great Zach Top.
It was funny because
literally was just in Tampa on Friday night.
Oh, was he?
Yeah,
was he playing with Dirks?
He was the opener for Dirks.
Yeah, and so Dirks brought him out, and he's talking about that. Him, Dirks, and Zach were backstage with Luke Bryan, and they were kind of, you could tell they've been drinking all day and all night, and they were just having a hell of a time. And it was really fun to see those guys all kind of come together, kind of the superstars. But you could tell that like the Tucker Whitmores and the Baileys, it's kind of this new breed of country rap type thing, whatever that is that's going on.
Yeah.
And Bailey was just like, I don't know what he was on. And I like some of his songs. I really do. I think he's got a good voice. But man, what a D. And Wetmore too. We saw him earlier in the day at the acoustic set where we went to this place called Sky Deck, which is at the Fifth Avenue Assembly Hall. A great place, by the way, to eat. And then they have this great venue at the top.
That's my favorite place, honestly, downtown.
Sky Deck?
Yeah.
Sky Deck is, and then they brought them all out and they did these acoustic sets. Jordan Davis did a 3-guitar acoustic set, and a lot of his new stuff that's coming out. Bar None, he did that, and I mean he's so good. He's so freaking good. And we saw a lot of emerging stars. You see the talent, and they're like free stages all over the town, and you just walk up to the stage and someone you've never heard of, and they play this song, this incredible song, great lyrics, these singer-songwriters, and they're so freaking talented. It's unbelievable. And I tell you what, I am a fan. I will come back year in and year out to this festival and other festivals. And then you go to the stadium for the big show, and we just got tickets off TickPick, like club tickets for $125 each, which I think they sold for a hell of a lot more than that. So we just picked up those tickets, went up, and the people around us were so funny, and we were having a blast. And got to go. They had the club there, and on a scale of 1 to 10, the Raymond James, the club there, and everything is like a 10. Here it's like about a 4 or 5. But it was nice. But and artist after artist comes out and plays their best stuff. Rodney Atkins kicked it off with 5 of his number ones, all the old school stuff, and it just went on through the day. Young artists, older artists, and they all come out and play their hits, and it's absolutely fantastic. Could not have had a better time. So, and Nashville's such a great city. There's just not a lot of, not a lot of bull. I mean, you'll see some crazy stuff on Broadway. Don't get me wrong, but the people are just so freaking nice.
Doesn't it feel like when that new stadium goes up? By the way, like you have to think that's going to be like immediately they're going to get a Super Bowl over there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They killed it for the draft. I can't remember if it was 2019 or whatever. I think Nashville had the draft.
Have they even? Probably going to announce it soon.
They're going to get a Super Bowl because I mean Nashville has turned into like remember like it always was like okay Atlanta and Charlotte I feel like have always been like in the southern United States have been like the two hubs. Nashville to me has overtaken that.
Completely. And now this stadium is $2.2 billion and it's got a roof. And I was looking at some of the renderings and all the stuff. It's got all these rooftop bars on each corner of it, So it's got that Nashville rooftop feel to it.
Yeah, and you were saying like the club section has nothing on the Raymond James, and I'm like, well, there's a difference why one stadium is being demolished,
right?
The other one just needs some tweaks, just some fine tweaks.
See. No, it's like they knew they were building a new one, so they haven't put any money into the old one, which is almost an exact replica of Raymond James Stadium if you haven't seen it. And you could just see like how run down it is and how crappy it is. Yeah. It's just, because they knew they were going to do that. The Bucs have taken a different tact. They're going to, that report that came out a while back that they're looking to build, like a Texas Live, like a battery around Raymond James Stadium. Whether that will or will not include a baseball stadium, we don't know yet. But I think, that's something I think is very much a possibility. And I think, if Tampa's going to compete with Nashville, Mercedes-Benz, I think New Orleans is on the way out, quite frankly. There's no reason. New Orleans is so bad. I don't ever want to go back to New Orleans.
I hear so many people say, though, like New Orleans is like, I don't know what it's like from your experiences of being there, but I've heard so many people say of all the big, sort of hub cities for big events that a lot of people say nobody does it better than New Orleans. And they love the conveniency of everything, being close to another. I haven't been to most of these destinations, but that's why
it's just so dirty and unsafe. It's so dirty. It's not, this place feels really safe. I mean, the presence, we were kind of like, wow, that dude's got a sidearm. All the security officials are packing. And the police presence on Broadway last night. And if you can see the tower, I don't think if you see the tower from here, the big Bridgestone Tower, there were snipers up there. They had snipers on the Bridgestone Tower and big binoculars just looking out over everything. So it's incredible. I didn't get that feel when I was in New Orleans last time. We've been recently, and this place is just so awesome. And they're in how to bring it home to Tampa Bay, if whatever they build at Raymond James Stadium, whether it includes, a baseball stadium, and I think if you could do that in some way, a 2-stadium deal with a sliding roof where you could, I don't know, obviously that would take a huge investment, but it would be worth it because you have to compete with these other cities. And if you could have like a dual stadium, huge entertainment district that in the middle of it, residential housing, commercial, all that, you could, with Tampa, the way Tampa does events and our downtown riverfront and the beaches and all that, you could host Super Bowls, national champions. It would be a destination and you'd have more, area to entertain. So, and I think, the people of Tampa should be thinking about that. And then Tampa Bay should be thinking about that because you got to compete. And if you're, and we're a tourist economy, just like they are here. So, but the 15% surcharge on every bar bill on Broadway, like that's crazy. That's crazy.
By the way, speaking of Tampa and like getting big events and everything, I'm curious where you land because I'm only throwing this out there because I've heard his name thrown around. Because like obviously USF's looking for a new AD. How would you? Rob Higgins' name has been thrown around as a potential candidate for that job. I don't know how realistic that is, if he would be interested in it. Doesn't it feel like losing him for the role he plays now? Like, would that be a big deal, you think?
It got to be a double. a double hit losing Michael Kelly.
How do you handle that? Like, it would be great for USF, you would think, but the commission, you'd think, would take a hit.
Yeah, absolutely. Although, he's got a couple of really good attendants there, and Jason and Claire, who he always deflects credit to. But, Rob's the driving force there. There's no question about it. And I know he wanted it bad back when Michael got it, and he was one of the leading candidates. I don't know. It's a different job now, and I think that's part of the reason Michael left. And a big reason, I think, is, Navy calling him home. Obviously, his dad, graduated from the Naval Academy and was a midshipman. It's kind of got a mythical family feel to it for him. I get that. But I also think, it's a tough job now. It's a really, really tough job. And I'm not, and for USF, it's kind of weird because I think people look at USF as this sleeping giant, right? 50,000 students, 11th largest market. Why aren't you better? Why aren't you bigger? Why aren't you better? And it kind of a misnomer, because it's like Dick Vitale used to call it the toughest basketball job in America, because you're still kind of a second tier athletic school to the big boys. And I know, I don't at me with that. It just is what it is, right? There are major conferences. USF is not yet. I think it should be, and it will be, but it's not there yet, right? So people look at it as a sleeping giant, but it's also really hard because you got to compete with the Rays and the Lightning and the Buccaneers, and then all the other allegiances that people have to FSU, Florida, UCF. I mean, there's a lot of competition, and that money, you're competing for those dollars. You're competing for those crowds. You're competing for those dollars. And that's really difficult. When you're Alabama, you're the only game, not only in town, in the state, for God's sakes. When you're Georgia, you're in Athens, you're not competing against the Braves. You're not competing against the Falcons. You have your own loyal group of 90,000 people that come to Sanford Stadium every freaking weekend, and they pour money into the program. USF doesn't have that. So while it looks like it should be a great job, is it really? Because the expectations are so high, but the resources and the competition is tough. It's tough. So, and I think Michael Kelly did an unbelievable job there. And I don't know if you're going to be able to find somebody that's going to be as good as him. Just quite honest.
Keep in mind, too, they're also going to be going through a presidential search.
Right.
At the university.
At the same time.
And you got to have synergy between the president of the university and the athletic director, right?
Absolutely.
You can't have that going off the rails. And then you got to continue to, the stadium, I think, is okay, to get going and everything. Obviously, they kind of started it, but you got to push that over the finish line, of course, and be mindful of that. And then you got to fundraise your ass off at USF. Right. I think that's the big thing, is you have to fundraise, and continue to do that. And you have to put yourself in the best position possible for the next wave of realignment, which we assume is coming. But it seems like everything's kind of quieted down right now on that front, because there's so much going on. And we saw the house settlement stuff that took shape. That's going to have a major impact on stuff going forward. So whoever takes this job, you better get your working boots on, because I do agree that I think it's actually quietly one of the toughest jobs right now in the country to have to take over.
Yeah. And Will Weatherford put out, he's the head of the board of regents there at USF, and he put this out the other day, because a lot of USF folks are kind of doomsday right now. We need a president, we need an athletic director, to your point, and it's a critical time to be losing Michael Kelly. It's a really, really, it's bad timing. It just is. And Will Weatherford was like, hey, we got plenty of great people here to get this done. Derek Brooks is an icon. He's a local icon, and he's developed chops now in the administration world, right? He's been on a board of regents. He's worked for the Lightning for a long, long time. He's not only iconic in what he can bring in terms of fundraising, but, he's a businessman and has been for quite some time. And I think Derek Brooks brings a lot of gravitas when he walks in the room. He's a Hall of Famer, obviously Pro Football College Hall of Famer. He's got that Leroy Selman vibe to him. He really does. And I think it's would be a nice bookend story when you have, kind of a Leroy got it started, and, Michael Kelly kind of built the foundation, and then Derek takes it over the top to get you into the Big Ten ACC, wherever USF is going. And I really think they're positioned well to do that with the AAU status, with the large market size, the Big Ten wanting a Florida presence. I don't know where it's going. Nobody does. And if they tell you they do, they're lying. But because there's a lot that needs to be decided over the next couple of years. But I think, USF's going to be right there on that cut line. If they go to 48 teams, if they go to 64 teams, whatever that upper level is going to be, and the SEC and the Big Ten are going to decide this, I got news for you. They're the power brokers now. There is no more NCAA of any note whatsoever. And the SEC and the Big Ten have taken over. So, this USF's going to be left at the beck and call of these people. And, will they get in? Will they get top tier status? I don't know. I think it's going to be close. But, having a guy like Derek Brooks stumping for you opens a lot of doors. And he just, when he walks through the door, it's a different type of deal.
Yeah, so it depends how involved he wants. If he wants to be that involved and into the weeds, because I feel like being an athletic director now, than what Leroy Selman was, not even in the same.
Totally, yeah, absolutely, it's a totally different deal. But Derek has a great perspective from a Board of Regents standpoint and from a player standpoint. I think would be one of the critical key people that you would need input from in deciding where college football goes now. I mean, to me, he's kind of that elite status guy, right? So I think he could be a big part of that. And if he's put on some blue ribbon commission that's going to be doing this, which I think they need to do, Saban and Trump kind of started something, and then the SEC came in and told Saban, hey, shut the hell up. We got control of this now. We're not ceding it to anyone. We're not doing any, see how Saban kind of ran away from that real quick. So I think it's a critical time for USF, and we'll see where they go. I don't want to stump for anybody, but there's, I think Rob Higgins would bring a lot to the table. I think Derek would bring a lot to the table. Some of the other, you got a lot of other candidates that we've heard. Ken Erickson, longtime softball coach. We had him on here recently. Very well connected. Obviously, has been at USF.
And I understand he really, really wants this.
Yeah, he really, really wants it. He would be a great choice as well. I mean, I don't think we had this conversation with him last week about where NIL is here and now. And there's probably nobody on this planet that knows it better than him, and knows what it's, and from a non-revenue sports standpoint or I guess we call it Olympic sports now, whatever we want to call it. He's got that great experience. He's got the obviously experience at USF. He would be a fantastic choice. Lalo Prado, who's been doing a lot of fundraising at USF, he's got a lot of those connections. If it's about fundraising and that's what you're going for, Lalo is a great choice for that. He's a great choice for that. So I don't want to leave anybody out, but there's, I think they've got a lot of talent to pick from, and a lot of them can get it done. So we got a question here this morning while we're on this. Elijah Barrera said, JP, can you give your thoughts on the House versus NCAA being settled? Quite a monumental shift in college sports, and the new commission being led by a former MLB executive. I'm still kind of going through that, to be kind of honest, but we've kind of, we talked to AD Michael Alford 2 months ago, a month and a half ago, when he was in town, and I sat down with him for over an hour, and he was kind of explaining this whole thing. And they've been in the weeds on this settlement for a long time in terms of going in there and finding out what it's going to be and how to best take advantage of it. So FSU is very well positioned from a strategic standpoint to go in there and augment with NIL. They're ready to go. So I have a lot of faith in Michael Alford, their athletic director. I was just there last week, and, that new stadium is just, wow. Now, if they could start winning again, they've got an economic driver in that stadium with all that premium seating that could really, really put Florida State back, to the top where they once were.
You would think, on the surface, this should even the playing field a little bit, and I feel like the playing field though has been getting a little bit more even to begin with. But from what I understand here, reading this, it's $20.5 million starting on July 1st that can be shared with athletes. Football will get 75%. Men's basketball, 15%, women's basketball, 5%, and the remaining sports, 5%. And that amount will increase annually. So Power 4 football programs will have between 13 to 16 million to spend on rosters for the upcoming 2025 season. So yeah, on the surface, it looks like it should, but I think if I understand it correctly, then they can still obviously have their NIL stuff on the side.
Yeah, but as we talked about,
as we talked about their way of circumventing it.
Right. We've been telling you this for, since we talked to AD Alford about this, that this NIL thing is not going to be like it used to be, where you could just basically, okay, we're going to hand out $10 million to this incoming quarterback because the wife of a billionaire is a Michigan grad. Like, that's not happening anymore because now, let me take that back. The NIL now has to be, you have to earn that money legitimately. Like, they're going to have an accounting firm, Deloitte, or somebody come in and say, look at the NIL deal and say, if you're getting $5 million, you got to do $5 million worth of work. Now they can go do a podcast or do some things you can assign value to, but it's got to be real. It's got to be real, and it's going to make it a little bit more difficult to just hand out huge chunks of money and go grab somebody else and just overpay them. Kind of this wild west attitude that has been going on. So I think that's going to calm it a little bit. Now we're going to get, I'm sure the Title IX suits have already even been filed. Why is women's basketball getting 5%? And that's why there's going to have to be another step here in terms of taking the football and basketball programs out of the athletic department.
Hell, even men's basketball gets 15%. It's not like they're getting like a huge chunk out of that.
Well, it's commensurate to the revenue that they bring in, So and I think that's how they're going to try to defend it. But
football does need to be separate from all this, though.
Yeah, absolutely, come on. Absolutely, yeah. So, and if you're gonna, and you have to understand that the women's sports, the Olympic sports, have always been funded by football. Always. They've never been self-sustaining, never. And it's a weird way of saying it, but it's like you're getting to travel and play in these cathedrals of women's sports that you can look how women's sports in college, the facilities they get compared to the professional sports that are driven by market, right? Well, the WNBA is not driven by the market. They've always been subsidized by the NBA because they've never made a profit. It's always been a money drain. But it's changing a little bit. They're getting more revenues, and of course they want to be paid by like NBA players, which is bananas. But it's female college athletes have a great deal. They have a great deal. They play in stadiums. They get travel, and it's not commensurate to the market what they would normally. I mean, you can look at by the way, congrats to the Tampa Bay Sun, our professional team. And they don't. The college teams get bigger crowds. It's way better for them that's why they want to stay in college. When they go pro in women's sports, it's a huge step down from the facilities that they played in college and were able to access. So, in that sense, there's still going to be lawsuits, but I would wish that the women's sports would say, you know what, this is really good. This is really good. Let's accept this. We're still getting more money than we ever dreamed possible, and can continue to grow their market share. It doesn't mean they have to stay there. The more popular women's sports gets, the more money they make.
And I mean, I just saw, I can't remember her name, the pitcher for Texas Tech.
For
the women's softball team, which I understand that they pumped a lot of money into their
program. $1 million. You got $1 million.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think she got 2 NIL deals that were worth $1 million. So,
yeah.
I mean, it is, and we've seen with Caitlin Clark and the Olivia Dunns and things like that. There are examples where you can do it, but I will say it is going to be interesting because I understand there's going to be a press conference this morning with the commissioners of the ACC, Big 12, Big 10, the Pac-12, whatever that means, and the SEC today to discuss this. So,
there is. Interesting.
Let's see who. I'm sure Greg Sankey's going to have the most to say.
Of course,
Jim Phillips will probably give a blurb and move on because how it goes.
Jim Phillips, what a.
He inspires the least amount of confidence of all these commissioners, and it's like not even close. It's just not even close.
He'll never live down the fact he never went to bat for FSU for the snub. Then he comes back the next year and tries to do this Greg Sankey performance and just completely flubs it. screwing up Jordan Travis's name, and it was just it was awful. It was absolutely awful.
He just routinely gets shoved in a locker by Greg Sankey every time. Like when you hear Greg Sankey speak, then it goes to Jim Phillips next, you're like, there's no way these two guys have the same title. There's no way.
And he's still employed, because he takes direction well, I guess. Or orders, I should say, from ESPN. All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to get into the Rays. We got some interesting stuff on Chris Godwin, who turned down $30 million from the Patriots. And what does that say about the Buccaneers? So we'll talk about that. We are brought to you by the great folks at the G's Law Group, JEEVESLawgroup.com. They are local, they are trusted, and they get results. And also OnSiteConstructionFL.com. They are our first hour presenter here. OnSiteConstructionFL.com. If you need a restoration in your house, you need a contractor, get on the list now with your free consultation. So if you need them after a hurricane, you're already on the list and you know the contractor you're working with. OnSiteConstructionFL.com. Back to Nashville, live on the JP Peterson Show right after this.
Although it may seem tempting to go without health care insurance, the financial risk far outweighs the gain you may experience. For example, did you know if you simply broke your leg, it could cost you nearly $7,500? Put on top of that a hospital stay, you could be looking at $10,000 to $15,000. Ensuring that you don't go uncovered is so important, as according to CNBC, high medical bills are the highest contributing factor to why Americans end up taking money out of their retirement savings, or worse, find themselves filing bankruptcy. So go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. Now, depending on your income, you can get plans for zero premium. Our experts will guide you through the process effortlessly. They will shop many plans and find the one that's right for you. I called and I have full health coverage through Florida Blue for zero monthly premium. It's a free call. So why go uncovered? It's a huge risk. Go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. That's 800-669-1505. Spring means a time of renewal and Rays baseball, and the folks at Italiano Insurance want to welcome the Rays to Tampa and remind you it's time to renew those insurance policies with the now famous Italiano Insurance Checkup. Let the experienced and friendly agents shop your policy for the best price and coverage. Famous for saving me over $1,000 on our auto insurance last year and over $500 on our homeowners. Now that's a grand slam. Might as well get a double play by adding flood insurance and business insurance to your portfolio. Costs less than you think, and trust me, you do not want to risk your home or personal wealth. That's a big whiff. So step up to the plate and call 813-877-7799 and chat with the all-star agents at Italiano Insurance. 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Go Rays! JP here for Riveters, our new official sports bar and grill of the JP Peterson Show. And just like our show, no BS, no corporate chain feel, just amazing, authentic folks serving great comfort food in a casual atmosphere at unheard of prices. Riveters is located just south of Raymond James and Steinbrenner Field on Dale Mabry, walking distance to the park, so free parking, great place for pregame and postgame. Let's talk about fresh food. Nothing is frozen. Burgers, wings, prime rib, roasted fresh daily, never frozen. That makes a huge difference. The mahi, the salmon, also super fresh. All our sauces are original recipes made in-house. Our Warhawk chili and fully loaded potato soup is made fresh in-house. It's the best food anywhere, served by people who actually care. Riveters on Dale Mabry, just north of 275, just south of where the Bucs and Rays play. We'll see you there. Are you looking to renovate your home, rebuild after the hurricanes, or build your dream home from scratch? Well, let me tell you about my friend Jason Fawcett and On-Site Construction. They have over 1,450 satisfied clients, 25 years of experience, over 500 designs, and a talented team of over 40 construction professionals. They believe building something exceptional begins by truly focusing on all the details, even the smallest ones. We understand that construction can be a daunting process, and we're here to make it as smooth and stress-free as possible. Quality is non-negotiable at On-Site Construction. We use the finest materials, employ the most skilled tradespeople, and adhere to the highest industry standards to deliver a product we're proud of and that you're going to love. Our project management is meticulous with a focus on completing projects on time and on budget. Your happiness is our primary driver. So give us a call at 813-579-5789 or check out our incredible website at onsiteconstructionfl.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show live from Nashville. That's why I'm wearing this stupid hat, guys. Done. Had a question like, what is that guy wearing a hat for?
Someone called you Hackshaw Jim Duggan in the chat.
You know what I got last night? You wearing this hat? Take my glasses off. Said, are you Trace Atkins? I was like, I'll take that.
I don't hate the comparison. I could see it kind of. You kind of got the same. You kind of got the same. You got the same facial hair profile of him.
Yeah.
Same head shape.
Yeah. And when you wear the black hat. Yeah. Love that. I was like, thanks, man. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we had these two couples in front of us there from a couple hours away, and they're huge country music. The guy's a big Luke Bryan fan. They were hammered and so fun. Luke was good, man. I know you don't like Luke, but Luke was really good. He sat down. They pulled the piano out, and he did Strip It Down, like a cappella, just to him in the not a cappella, but him in the piano solo. Crushed it. It just got me thinking. You know, there was two concerts this week, or two shows this weekend that I did not go to either of them, and I badly wanted to. Different genre, but Metallica was here this weekend for two shows, Friday and yesterday, and I can't believe I just did not go. I don't know why. And Dirks. I saw Dirks had all the Lightning players up on the.
I think it was Pat Maroon, Nick Paul, Alex Killorn. I was like, people are still down here, man. Yeah, they ain't leaving. They ain't effing leaving. They may go away to play someplace else for a little bit, but they're coming back. They're gonna live here in Tampa Bay. It's the Tampa Bay effect, man. Where
else would you live? I mean, come on. Absolutely, 100%. All right, let's get to the Rays. By the way, big thanks to our good friends at OnSiteConstructionFL.com, to our first hour presenters, and also thirdgenerationplumbing.com. Go to their website, get that summer tune-up for your air conditioner. All right, we got some comments on the Rays as well that I want to get to. By the way, good morning, Kenneth McCleary, to you. Thank you so much. I do enjoy the JP Peterson Show on Mondays. Thank you. Christopher Cole says, morning, everyone. Before you Bucs fans ask, no, Bucs are not signing Jair Alexander. You know, at one time I would have liked that, but right now I think they couldn't be happier with Ben Morrison and Jacob Parrish.
I was going to say, let me give you two things. Jair Alexander is always hurt.
Yes.
He just is. It's nothing against him personally. I don't know the guy, but he is I think he's more of an outspoken dude. I don't know if that is
not a good fit.
He doesn't feel like the most Buck type of guy.
No.
And by the way, the Buccaneers pumped resources into Ben Morrison, Jacob Parrish. They decided to bring back Jamel Dean, and Zion is ascending. There is no reason for Jair to be on this.
No room at the end. No. We good. Good morning, Nathan Elliott, to you, my friend. Danny Sledges says, still upset Saturday's game. Morrell shouldn't have been pulled. His breakout game is hooray.
Can you believe that?
Yeah, he had 3-run homer. Hey, somebody hit me up on Twitter and said, JP, it's working. Keep hammering him. And
I was in Fort Myers on Saturday, and so I wasn't watching this game live, but I was kind of box score watching throughout. And I looked at the box score and I'm like, this cannot be real. Nobody 1 through 6 has a hit. And Chris Morrell is 3 for 3 with 2 homers. Danny Jansen's 3 for 4 with a homer. And Taylor Walls is 2 for 4 with a homer. What kind of wackiness was that?
I think Topkin or somebody put out a tweet that it was some record, the 7, 8, 9 hitters, their production, it was like a major league record for a game. Never before have those 3 positions produced that many hits and runs and RBIs in a game.
I'll take it. I mean, if 3 guys need to get going, I'll take it. I mean, Taylor Walls is batting over 200 now, folks. He made it.
Right. Hassan Kim, you have to earn that job.
Oh,
How about Caballero yesterday?
what a fun player to watch.
I know he really is. He really is. He's so versatile. That guy, he's not going anywhere. He gets on second, pinch runner, steals third, gets there with 1 out, and then scores on a 267-foot bloop to center field and scores the winning run. I mean, that's Chandler Simpson type of stuff. Speaking of which, how did Chandler Simpson do yesterday?
He had a nice little 5-for-5 piece for the Durham Bulls yesterday.
5 for 5.
5 for 5, and Cameron Meisner continues to. I mean, he is really struggling at the plate. Struggling at the plate, and I kind of find it surprising, JP, because Eric Neander said when he was talking to T-Crass that a big reason is Meisner's defense, and he said he was playing center as well as anybody across the league. And since Jake Mangum has come back up, 4 out of the 10 games, Jake Mangum has been out in center.
Right, and he's pretty good center fielder too.
And he's been playing some good defense too, and he's obviously a scrapper type of player just like that as well. I mean, if Chandler Simpson continues to hit, I mean, they can't just keep him down there forever. You have to think they'll quickly get Chandler Simpson back up and send Meisner back down.
I would agree, but again, morale. And I know he had a good day, right?
I have to think they mean. Hell, if he keeps hitting the way he is right now, it's only one game. Maybe
maybe
they're trying to find a trade partner for him.
At some point, you're going to run into one of them. For God's sakes, let's calm down about Christopher Morel. All right, I'm
not going to hype him. It's one game. It was great, one game, but I mean.
Maybe Chandler Simpson back all day long.
The Rays may not feel like they want to change anything because, I mean, right now the Rays are one of the hottest teams in all of baseball. They've gotten themselves back up to 5 over 500. And if you even look at run differential, they have the highest run differential of any team in baseball that's not leading a division. They actually have the fourth highest or the third highest run differential in the entire American League right now.
How about that?
I mean, who saw this coming? They're scoring runs. And they're in a wild card position right now. They're tied with Minnesota and Toronto. They all have the same record for those 3 wild card spots. And the pitching has been unreal lately.
Rasmussen finally gave up a run.
He finally gave a run, but he still. I mean, they got out with a 3-2 victory. But before the Saturday game, they had gone 17 straight games of giving up 4 runs or fewer, second longest streak in the major since 2018, according to Ryan Bass. I mean,
that's outstanding.
Unreal.
And Shane McClanahan's coming back, by the way. And Joe Boyle's got a 1.5 ERA. He can't you can't score on him. His numbers are through the freaking roof at AAA.
And they even
how long can we keep him down there?
It's not a horrible problem to have. I mean, he's just sort of I mentioned throwing Baz out there as an idea for a bullpen piece because he really only has 2 pitches right now.
Yeah,
Edwin, you said
I don't trust Uceda. I know he was good. He got it done yesterday, but I don't trust him.
I don't trust him. I mean, it was a really good outing. His velocity was actually up yesterday.
Yes, it was better.
I'm hopeful maybe this turns a corner, but Mason Montgomery has really struggled all of a sudden. He's a guy that I could see them, giving him another AAA stint. I mean, they have Ian Seymour, who's been really good in AAA. So I mean, they got a lot of options.
And Baz almost every time, third time through the order, and that slider he keeps trying to throw is an automatic home run. So I think he's a bullpen guy. That's how he came up, and then they needed him to be a starter. I think they could probably move him back now. And of course, the big thing is, what do they do at the deadline with the surplus of pitching? If McClanahan comes back healthy and you can give up a Zach Littell and get a big piece back. People are like, we're scoring runs. We don't need any more. Yes, we do.
I don't want to give up Littell, though. I love Littell right now.
I love him, too, but you got to give up something to get something.
I know, but he's a leader in that. It's beyond what he does as a pitcher.
That's a great point. It's a great point.
Leader. And you need someone. They have all those guys in that rotation that are all young. Littell's a grizzled.
I mean, if I can get something really good for Shane Baz or Taj Bradley, hell yeah. Or I love all these guys, but you got to give up something to get something. You got to give up. But right now we have a surplus of pitching, so and we still need another big bat.
They need a right-handed bat. You still even though it's been better of late, you still feel like if they're going to face when they see lefties and you see the lineup they put out, they really could use an established right-handed bat.
Yes, 100%. And again, postseason. You got to have the established guys. Those are the ones that get it done. Because still the Rays against good pitching, everybody against good pitching struggles, right? But the Rays especially so, I think, and especially from the left side. Lefties just, in the postseason, that's not going to work. It ain't going to work. Douglas Batista says, Romano on Friday regarding the Trop. Without an extension, the Rays could be negotiating with other cities. Manfred's devotion to Tampa Bay will undoubtedly wane quickly if the city locks the Rays out. I mean, I don't even know where this comes from. I do know where it comes from, actually. What? Stu is not going to own this team for much longer, John Romano. There's things in the works that are going to get this taken care of. They don't need an extension at the Trop. Stop trying to save St. Pete baseball. It's unsavable.
Well, here's where it is. I don't hate the idea. Like, if you want to give yourselves a short-term extension, because
3 years, you're going to be there for 3 years. That's a short-term extension.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. If you want to give yourself a short-term extension, fine. But 10 years, to me, all that does is give Stu more time to do his shtick about more time to find solutions.
Major League Baseball.
All that does is prolong it, and it gives him more time to own this team and to sort of just
They're going to cut his revenue sharing dollars. They've already said that. They've already said that publicly, which is unprecedented. It's going to be in Tampa. It's going to be in Tampa. Unless Stu comes with some miracle save, ninth inning, bottom of that nobody sees coming, it's going to be in Tampa. And again, come to Nashville. Everybody knows how to build stadiums except Tampa, and it's not our fault. I say that. How many times have we got to say this? It's not about Tampa. It's not about St. Pete. It's not about the market. It's about Stu Sternberg, and everybody knows that now. That's not even debatable. Not even for the Times. Not even debatable. It's just not. And that's not just me now. That's every public official in St. Pete, every public official in Pinellas County. They all know what we all know. Can't trust the guys. Can't deal with them. Let's move on.
Well, he was nice enough to show himself, though, this weekend for the Evan Longoria retirement. The press conference. I think he spent some time in the booth, too, as well. I mean, and of course, he's the owner. I mean, at the end of the day, he's the owner. He was here the entire time for Longoria's tenure, obviously. But it was more about, obviously, Longo than it was Stu. And I'm glad this was cool. I hate the way that Longo's career in Tampa sort of got cut short because of the trade when I think he was 31 years old at the time.
Yeah.
Now, the Rays went on to have a lot of success on the opposite side of Longoria, and I give them a lot of credit because they sort of flipped that roster completely in 2018.
But that trade certainly didn't help it. As you mentioned, what we got back didn't help at all.
No.
No disrespect in our hard span.
It did not. But listen, Longo will always be. You had Carl Crawford was a great franchise player for this team for a long time. And, I know their careers sort of overlapped for 3 seasons, but Longo was the face. And I think the face of Tampa Bay sports, really for that time. We grew to have such a love for Steven Stamkos, obviously. The Bucs didn't really at the time for much of Longoria's tenure until like Mike got here and stuff really had that guy that we could all fall in love with. Longo was that dude. There was a long time there where if you went to stores across the Tampa Bay area or anywhere, the only shirts they sold were Longo. And everybody had that shirt. And I saw MLB Network was replaying their little documentary they have there on the greatest night in baseball history. I'll never get tired of watching that. Never forget Dan Johnson's role in that too, by the way.
That was insane.
But Longoria kickstarted that all. He performed at the highest level for this team for a decade. And to me, he's still the greatest Ray of all time.
Absolutely.
He's still the greatest Ray of all time.
Absolutely. And all that is deserved. And I'm so glad they brought him back because the Rays have not done a great job of celebrating their alumni, in my opinion. We need an alumni game every year, right? We need that. Let's do that. Bring them all home and have a hootenanny like the Yankees. I know the Yankees have so much more history. I get all that. But why can't we do it? Why can't we have nice things? Probably because it costs money. And I don't want to besmirch Longo at all. He was everything you just said and more. The But to have Stu sitting there, like taking the credit, you traded him. You traded the greatest player after you signed him to 1 year of a contract, $100 million contract, and took all the credit for we're spending money. You traded him the next year. Let's not forget that. So don't sit up there and take credit for all this. Get out of here. What else we got here in our comments? B, good morning to you, B. Yes, hot hacksaw Jim Duggan on the left side. I've toured both USF and UF campus. USF looks minor league compared to UF. Yeah, it does. And, I just toured the FSU facilities up there. I mean, Michael Kelly, I think, did a great job, but it pales in comparison to those other places. It just does. And that's about money. Dylan London does not agree with my assessment of Michael Kelly, but we take all opinions here. We love you, Dylan. So Michael Kelly was not that good of an AD. We are quite literally in the AAC still. Bottom line, he had very little to do with the stadium getting built. He was a passenger. I don't know about that. I don't know about a passenger. I know Will Weatherford drove that, no question, but Michael Kelly did a hell of a lot of work behind the scenes.
I might be off. A lot of work. I might be off.
Michael Kelly has never been a, look at me, I take all the credit kind of guy, so.
I might be off base here because, I'm a UCF grad and everything, and I don't follow the inner circles of everything that goes on with USF. I do my best as someone who lives here, but it feels like we had these discussions, 4 or 5 years ago on this show that USF did not put a big enough priority on athletics for a long time.
Yes.
And it sort of led to them, being where they were. And I think they were at rock bottom as an athletics program completely, 3 years ago?
Judy Genshaft never made athletics a priority.
Right. And it feels like that has shifted a little bit.
Under her watch.
And
yeah.
It feels like that shifted a little bit. And now they're having obviously do a lot of cleanup to get there.
Yeah, academically, they've done a lot of great stuff. And in the end, it is a college.
I mean, remember when we were a couple of years ago when they were trying to get the stadium stuff through and there were all these things coming out, these articles about all these teachers and stuff that were like, well, what about the carpet in my mathematics room and everything? And it's like, okay, like let's please don't be like that. Like, come on.
Well, and that's part of the USF issues. That's it. They've always been that way. They don't see the bigger effect of how athletics can drive a university and take it academically to another level. I mean, you don't have to look any further than FSU. When idiots like me got in, all you needed was a pulse, and an 800 on your SAT, and you could get in. Now, after Bobby Bowden resurrected the football program and they got 50, 60,000 applications a year, they could be more selective, brought in more research dollars, started the medical school. The campus has transformed itself. Now it takes a 1,400 to get into FSU, and there's so much money there that all the teachers are swimming in their ridiculous salaries and tenure, and it that high tide raises all the boats. So it's very short-sighted when you're an academics, a chemistry professor, and you're worried about getting new bathrooms. That'll come if you continue to ascend athletically, and it takes a while, but we've seen it everywhere. All right, so what else do we want to get to? The Buccaneers. So I didn't get a chance to read the Chris Godwin article. You sent it to me, but the Patriots came after him.
Oh, I think JP might have dropped out here for a second. So I'm gonna give him some time to jump in here, but I don't want to go over this unless he's right here. So we're going to take a quick break real quick and see if we can get JP back online here. But when we come back, we're going to go over this athletic article here from Dan Pompei. It was a nice feature done on Chris Godwin, a lot of great things in it. So we're going to dive into that and some nuggets, as JP sort of mentioned. Actually, I think he's popping back in. There he is. There he is. You back with us? All right.
Don't know what
I was going to take a break to regroup, but I think you're good to go.
Yeah, let's do that. We got to hit a break anyway. Let's do that.
Yeah.
All right. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We're going to hit this Chris Godwin story and talk some Buccaneers as OTAs are coming up. We are brought to you by the great folks at the Gold and Diamond Source. June brings us new birthstones, pearl, amethyst, and moonsite. So 15% off all those wonderful June gems if you shop at goldanddiamond.com. And of course, Father's Day is coming up, so get your butt over there. We've got a great men's section there of great watches and necklaces and bracelets and rings, all kinds of cool stuff for you guys to wear at the Gold and Diamond Source. So ladies, get on over there, or dudes, just go over there and buy something for yourself on Father's Day. You know what you want. It's the Gold and Diamond Source at 3800 Olmerton Road. Back in 3. Stay with us.
Hey, JP here for my concierge medical professional, Chris Lugo, PA. You've heard him on the show for a couple of years where he shares invaluable medical, nutritional, and supplement advice. With Chris, it's like having a medical provider as your best friend. What I love about this concierge service is the convenience and support he offers. I can text or call him 24/7 with any questions or concerns, and he'll promptly call in a prescription if needed. No office visits or copays required. It gives me peace of mind knowing I have someone genuinely invested in my health, not just focused on insurance profits. And the best part, the Bay Area Modern Medical Center's personal concierge service is more affordable than you might think. Don't let insurance companies dictate your health care. Take control of your health and wellness today. Visit BAMMC.com for more information and to schedule your initial free consultation. Empower yourself and take charge of your personal health with BAMMC.com. JP here for the Gold and Diamond Source. You know, we told you about the amazing Diamond Savings Account where your diamond never loses its value. Well, now, through the end of May, the Gold and Diamond Source will double your trade-in value up to $2,500. Just bring in your jewelry to trade and your $2,500 piece turns into $5,000. It's time to upgrade that ring, earrings, whatever. We have gemologists on site to make the deal. Double your trade value up to $2,500. Get you $5,000 to spend. So go through your jewelry box and get that stuff you never wear and get something new and stylish that you're going to love. Great experience, and we will double your trade-in now till the end of May. We can finance you as well. No interest for 5 years. Only at the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road. Always online at goldanddiamond.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group and my man Scott Jeeves, who lives right here and has long been a highly respected member of our community. He's a proud sponsor of the Tampa Riverwalk. Jeeves Law Group is also a proud sponsor of our Grand Central District in St. Pete and has neighborhood events throughout the year. He has an office on Central Avenue in St. Pete and one on South Howard in Tampa. You can't get more local than that. So when you need an attorney, are you going to hire some huge firm that advertises all over the state or the one that supports your favorite sports show? It's the Jeeves Law Group. We're local, we're trusted, and we get results. For personal injury and personal attention, call us for a free case evaluation. That's 8889-JEEVES. That's 8889-JEEVES. Hey, Tampa Bay, it's time to get your AC unit ready for summer. And here at Third Generation Plumbing and Mechanical, we recommend getting ahead of the game, keeping your family cool before the hot summer months with one of our maintenance agreements in the hopes of avoiding the dreaded emergency service call. Our maintenance agreements include, we'll test the electrical components, check and tighten high and low voltage wire connections. We'll check the refrigerant for manufacturer's performance levels, test thermostats, calibrate if needed, clean the evaporator coil and condenser coil, and clear and treat the drain line and drain pans. Just call us at 813-961-8024 for the special rates, and a human will actually answer. 813-961-8024 or go to thirdgenerationplumbing.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, live from Nashville. Just did the CMA Festival this weekend. Absolutely fantastic. Highly recommend it. We're coming to you from the rooftop of the Holston House, where we're staying this weekend. Great boutique hotel, by the way. Highly recommend. One of these older hotels about 2 blocks off Broadway, right in the thick of everything. Really cool place, Holston House. So if you're looking for hotels in Nashville, highly recommend it. Really, really cool place. Great folks, a great staff. It's not, some of the bigger hotels, you can get lost in those places, and the service is awful. Service here has been absolutely fantastic. People are really, really cool. Got in our room early. Really, really nice. So thanks to the great folks at the Holston House. And thanks to all of our great advertisers here. Riveters, by the way, had a huge weekend with Metallica. I heard the crowds were unbelievable. John Hill was there with Katie. So thank you guys for going over to Riveters and saying hello. They had a huge weekend. UFC on Saturday night, Metallica on Friday and Sunday, Rays games all weekend. So don't forget to stop by Riveters, have the wings, have all the great fresh food there. And the staff, speaking of staff, they are absolutely the best. All the girls and guys over there at Riveters. So head on over and tell them JP sent you. All right. So this Chris Godwin article that who wrote that?
Dan Pompei.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about this. All I got basically is the gist about Godwin turned down $30 million from the Patriots, which, by the way, if as we told you all along during that saga, I told you he's going to get a big offer from somebody else, and he's not a money guy. He's not going to be driven by money, and he's going to stay with the Buccaneers. So how much are we talking about here?
Yeah, so honestly, this is more than I thought Chris actually would have gotten offered. But if you're the Patriots, you've struggled to find wide receiver help for years. So Chris said that they offered him $30 million per year on a multi-year deal. The other team that was at the forefront of the interest for him was the Steelers, who obviously eventually acquired DK Metcalf and paid him more than $30 million, actually. So the Buccaneers' best offer was the 3-year, $66 million, which is $22 million per season. Godwin's agent had told him that he would be leaving generational money on the table if he had passed up on the Patriots offer. And it's noted here that the opinion that mattered the most to Godwin was his wife, Mariah's. And they went over everything. And it's noted here that, some players play for money, for glory, for ego, and Godwin plays for other reasons. And obviously he's built an entire life right here. He's obviously been with his wife, Mariah, I think since they were in the 8th grade, actually. It's a great love story. And, playing with Mike was a big part of this too. And it's not lost on him. He says that what they have built together and the run that they've had together is not exactly common. You just don't see that. We've talked about this a lot, to have two receivers like this together of their caliber play for so long, and neither one of them a diva. And he even mentions, one of his, I think maybe his second or third year in the league, when he was sort of still finding his footing and he was getting all these targets and everything. And not once did Mike ever pull the card of like, I'm the number one on this team. I'm supposed to be getting all these targets. It never happened. It never has happened to this day. These guys are both selfless, but he decided to stay. And I think it just speaks so much that we've talked about what the Bucs have built here. And now you can also point out $30 million annually in Massachusetts is a little different than, once you put the taxes into it, it actually is a lot closer to the $22 million that he would have gotten in Tampa Bay. So I'm sure that closes the gap quite a bit. But honestly, I know the Patriots might have an up and up future or whatever, but Tampa Bay right now is right there in a Super Bowl window. He's already won a Super Bowl here. The organization loves him. He loves being in Tampa. I mean, to me, I was never really concerned that Chris Godwin was going to go anywhere else, and this just affirmed.
No, but can we acknowledge that this doesn't happen other places for the most part? It just doesn't. It doesn't happen in the wide receiver room, especially, and it doesn't happen just in general. And what the Bucs, you guys might get tired about us talking about culture, but this is what they have built. And Todd Bowles, yes, absolutely gets credit for that, but so does Jason Light, so does the entire organization, the Glazers especially. A lot of this comes from ownership, right? Yeah. And and they love Chris Godwin. They want him to be a lifetime Buccaneer. But they also, all these guys are coming together for the collective. Like everybody's like, when next year you're gonna pay Baker $60 million. No, we're not.
Yeah, and I love. There's another great excerpt in here, and this is more than just about Chris. But listen to this. I thought this was really cool. It says Mayfield. This is from the article. Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, and Chris Godwin, along with their spouses, are a part of a group of Bucs and former Bucs who get together for regular game nights. Others include Cam Brate, Ryan Griffin, Anthony Nelson, Kate Otten, and their wives. They play fishbowl, taboo, mafia, spade. They eat, share, laugh, and bond. And when they play games, they don't text, scroll social media, or watch videos. They are present with one another, and they are competitive. I mean, if you're Jason, like you're reading that, and it's like he gets to go to bed every single night, not have to worry about what his star players are doing. I mean,
well, and this isn't luck.
if you want to find entertainment, and I mean like extracurricular entertainment, I think you know what I mean. On Del Mabry, you could find it, and it doesn't seem like these players are really interested in that.
No, and it's one of the reasons that Bruce Arians didn't want to bring AB in, but was forced to by Brady, and it's not by accident. They are, as Jason Light told us on this show, at least 20 guys he took off his board this year, and that's not out of the 1,200. We're talking about 20 guys out of probably 150, which is a large percentage that they just took off their board, and that's at least. He said it's probably higher than that. So you're looking at probably 30 guys out of 150 that he just took off his board because of character issues, not good teammates, not serious about football, all that stuff. That's why they have the culture that they have, because they don't bring in people that don't get it. And Jason has been very open about having, he made a lot of those mistakes early on in his career, but he has fine-tuned his process, and his team has fine-tuned their process to go really find these guys. They do a lot of background work on them to find out who they are and what they are. And this is what you get. You get this kind of leadership. Now, they've already won one Super Bowl, but I think a lot of that, is kind of a Brady thing, right? A lot of the credit goes to, even though it's, it was way more than just him. That's why I want this so bad for Baker Mayfield. I want it so bad for Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and all these guys who have taken less money, and the Tristan Wirfs and all of them, to just, to get that final validation that, nice guys can win, Leo DeRocher. Great culture. You can win with, and not that these guys are, quote, choir boys. They're not assholes and douchebags, to use Jason Light's terms. They're not assholes and douchebags. And the league is full of them. The league is absolutely full of them. And so is the media, by the way. So I'm not casting aspersions on just the NFL. So it's a great testament. And I love these stories, and I love to hear the human side of this. And it just, it warms my heart, because you can root for these guys, man. You can really root for them. Now, OTAs start up again tomorrow. These are mandatory. I expect to see Hassan Reddick there. If he's not, I will be shocked.
Everybody's been freaking out about the fact that he wasn't there, I guess, for the voluntaries.
We've talked about it. I'm not freaking out about it. We've talked about it. And I'd rather him be there, learning his teammates, learning the culture, learning the playbook, but whatever. It's not critical.
He's done this a lot throughout his career.
Right, exactly.
I think it's because of everything that happened last year with the Jets is why everybody has raised eyebrows to it. But it doesn't sound like the organization's worried about it. So I'm not going to be. I don't think this is going to be a Randy Gregory situation where he just goes AWOL.
Hell no.
I don't think it's going to be that. Hassan Reddick, at the end of the day, these guys are all competitors. And you think Hassan Reddick doesn't have a sour taste in his own mouth about everything that happened last year? You think he enjoyed the fact that he had his worst season as a pro last year with everything that happened? No. He's 30 years old. He is playing under a 1-year contract, which if he performs like he was up until last year is going to be a big bargain. He wants to get paid again. It probably won't be the Bucs who pay him, but he wants to get paid again. One final contract for the rest of his career, probably. And so he has a lot of motivation to get his ass to mandatory minicamp and to show out this season for a team that I think has opened up their Super Bowl window. So if he's not there tomorrow when this thing kicks off, I will be completely shocked. Yeah,
I agree totally. And we'll be all over it, all over OTAs this week. So we'll have more Bucs content for you as we go through the week. Let us take one more break here. We'll come back on the other side. I want to talk about one of the greatest tennis matches I've ever seen in my life. And what's brewing in tennis right now is something really, really special. We're going to touch on the NBA as well. And a couple other notes here from Nashville, some college baseball we got to get to as well. So quick break. We'll come back on the other side and wrap things up here. Steve Peterson Show live from Nashville, brought to you by Cafe Paradiso and the G's Law Group. Stay with us.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, voted number 3 People's Choice Award on Open Table. I want to thank all our loyal family of customers that have been enjoying our great traditional Italian dishes we make from scratch every day. It's a great family story we're proud of. Our family moved from Rimini, Italy in 1984. My dad, Caesar, started Donatello, and that's where I got the start in the restaurant business. I started Caffè Paradiso on South McDill in 1995, and we've been there ever since. From our traditional ossobuco, a veal slow roast for 4 hours, to our daily fresh catch, the Gruppo Paradiso, with a piccata sauce and lobster claw meat, homemade pasta like lasagna, farfalle salchicha, which is a bow tie pasta homemade with fresh sausage. Hold on a minute, JP's favorite.
I love it.
So come and have a glass of wine with me on South McDill. Get a reservation on Open Table and see all our 5-star reviews. Ciao, see you soon at Paradiso.
Going through a medical emergency without health care insurance can cause you to go into crippling debt. In most scenarios, people are forced to either break into their retirement funds or worse, they're forced to file for bankruptcy. The sad truth is that health care insurance is crucial in today's day and age. Look, I get it. Many of you think you're never going to get sick and health insurance is really expensive. Well, we can help you out with that. Depending on your income, we can find great plans and huge discounts. God forbid you get cancer, a car accident. It could literally ruin you financially for life. So make the call and find out. Even though the open enrollment period is over, you may have some qualifying life events that can help you get covered right away. It can be very complicated, a very intimidating process, but we can help. Go to our website and check out all the 5-star reviews about our helpful agents. Go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. That's 800-669-1505. JP here for Riveters, the official sports bar and grill of the JP Peterson Show. We're located just south of Ray J and Steinbrenner Field, so it's a great pre- and post-game spot, and the happy hour is amazing. Monday through Friday, 3 to 7. Check out these specials. $3 Bud Light drafts, $4 domestic bottles, $5 wells, $6 premium wells, $6 cocktails like margaritas. It's unheard of. And the Riveters food is freshly made daily. No freezers. Happy hour food specials include $3.50 tacos and barbecue sliders. $6 you get edamame or chips with the beer cheese, which is amazing. $8 buffalo chicken dip, my favorite. The truffle fries, chili cheese fries, also $8 at happy hour. As well as other specials throughout the week, including Taco Tuesdays, you get $3 tacos, and Wing Wednesdays, 7 o'clock to 1 a.m. in the morning, you get our amazing wings, 5 for $5 and $5 wells and wines. That's a good Wednesday night. So if you're tired of the preppy, overpriced generic sports bars, come see the amazing, friendly bartenders and staff at Riveters, where customer service really matters. Riveters, just south of where the Rays and Bucs play. We'll see you there. JP here for my friend Jason Fawcett, owner of On-Site Construction. They do residential and commercial renovations and new construction. As a leading home builder and general contractor, On-Site Construction prides itself on transforming homes through superior craftsmanship, dedication to client vision, and an unmatched commitment to quality and service. It's about building relationships. We take the time to understand our clients' needs, preferences, and budgets so that we can deliver a personalized experience tailored to their unique vision. From the initial designs to the final touches, we're there every step of the way, ensuring that the end result mirrors your vision. Here are some testimonials from happy customers. G. Gibson says, no hidden costs, very honest, reliable, creative, and communicates well. Reasonable and fair with their pricing, no hidden costs. C. Smith said, did not disappoint. I'm very happy with the work. This company really cares and will take care of it. So if you're just thinking about building or renovating, give us a call and let's see what's possible. 813-579-5789 or check out our website at onsiteconstructionfl.com.
Let's go. Right now. Back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, live from Nashville. As we take the show on the road, it's Tallahassee last week, Nashville today, might be San Antonio next week. Going to a rodeo. And we thank all of our great sponsors. You see them right here, Riveters, Italiano, Golden Diamond Source, On-Site Construction, FL.com. Get in line if you want a great contractor. Jason Fawcett is your man. Cafe Paradiso, the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves lawgroup.com. And, of course, Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Thanks to all of our great sponsors. So you watched a little bit of the French Open final yesterday. By the way, American Coco Gauff gets her French Open title. She was fantastic.
First American in I forget how many years to win the French Open.
Finally.
Long time.
But Alcaraz and Sinner, they've won 7 of the last 8 Grand Slams and 6 in a row. That match yesterday, the longest in French history, 5 sets, 5.5 hours. The level of play of Carlos Alcaraz after he went down 2 sets was just insane.
He had to overcome 3 championship points.
He was now love 40. Love 40 in the game.
Love 40 in the third set.
Yeah. What a match. It's as good as I was around for Borg McEnroe in the 80-81 Wimbledon final, which I think was, considered one of the greatest of all time. And the level of play was just insane. Both of these guys were just playing at a level I've never seen before. But Alcaraz, even the winner, the down the line winner, a forehand winner at the end, it's just he hits shots that are they're otherworldly. And Sinner's fantastic as well. The two of them, 22 and 23 years old.
Yeah, it's hard. It is really hard to top like a great tennis match like this in a Grand Slam final. I think it's one of the greatest spectacle in sports.
Absolutely.
And it's a shame a lot of people, just don't watch tennis and can't get into it. But I'm telling you, as much as we loved watching Federer and Nadal for years and you threw Djokovic into the mix against those two, any combination of those three was just cinema for years. And now it looks like it's Alcaraz and Sinner who have completely just shifted tennis into this new direction. You finally have 2 new stars, but Alcaraz is the guy who everybody loves. He was the fan favorite. And I thought he was playing his best tennis when the match was 5 hours in. It's like he just completely flipped the switch. Like he's got to be the most athletic tennis player I think I've ever seen. Like I don't think anybody's better than him from an athletic standpoint. And the shot to win, my goodness. I mean,
his variety
of difficulty.
I mean, we've seen, Nadal win, 15 French Opens. He and Federer had some epic battles. But this was just at another level. If you get a chance to watch the replay, if you get 5 hours on your hands, it's insane. I was like in and out, but I was so captivated by that. But man, what these two guys can bring to tennis the rest of the way is insane. The Americans had a good run all around at the French. I'll be interested to see how they do at Wimbledon, and maybe an American man can break through here soon. But with these two playing, this on lockdown for the next probably 10 years. And we get more of this, I'm good. Good.
Isn't it funny? Like so many, like in team sports, when we see the same teams constantly in like finals, we always get like gassed out as fans, and we're like, "Ugh, this guy, this team again, this player again." Like the whole like Mahomes fatigue, for example, or Brady fatigue. Like I think anybody, if you told me that the next 10, 15 Grand Slam finals are going to be Sinner and Alcaraz, we're never going to get tired of it. We're never going to get tired of it.
No, it's absolutely insane. And the Federer and Djokovic, Nadal just owned the sport for 15 years, and nobody could break through. And now these two guys have come through, and that match was insane. The Canadian Open yesterday, our good friend Sam Burns, back-to-back winner at Innisbrook, had a 6-footer in the playoff to win it, goes begging, and then they have a pillow fight for four extra holes. Then Ryan Fox finally takes out on 18, takes out his 3-wood, and hits a 256-yard 3-wood to 4 feet. But he missed the eagle putt, and meanwhile Sam Burns was, screwing around with whatever he was doing. But man, what a shot! That's one of the greatest shots I've ever seen in golf. To finally end it.
Ironically, the greatest shot in golf this weekend was actually on the Live Tour. If you haven't gotten a chance,
Jesus Christ, you see that?
The Phil Mickelson chip out of the rough hole. I don't even know if that's even. I'd even call that a chip. I mean, I don't know what it was, but the man's 54 years old, and I wish I could describe it better. Maybe you can.
Well, it was on a side hill lie, and you've seen him do this trick shot on YouTube before, where he's got his back to the hole and he hits it up over his head. This is kind of an overhead sideways deal, and he really had his back. Hole was over here, and he chipped it, and it was on a huge incline. So he takes out his 60 degree and literally hits it back over his head, but knocks it in the hole. Like insane shot. insane shot. But that was on the Carnival tour, so nobody cared.
But now he's got people believing that, now all of a sudden the career Grand Slam's back on at Oakmont next month.
He's done.
Yeah.
He's done. What else? In Indiana last night, Oklahoma City comes at SGA with 34 last night. And after games they've lost now, Oklahoma City has won games by 16, 32, and 43 points after losses. So, they are a wagon. But Halliburton was limping last night after the game. So if he's hurt, it's over. But this scrappy Indiana team, I think they might be able to take them to 7 games. I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe. Oklahoma City's lost like maybe 20 games this entire season.
Yeah, it's crazy.
They've been unreal. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is fantastic to watch, a great all-around team. I'm enjoying this finals matchup. I like the, 2 smaller markets going at it. The networks probably have to hate it. I saw the ratings were great for game 1, but that's on you for not watching. You missed a great game. 1 was fantastic. Game 2, obviously a little bit of a blowout.
I love it. No LeBron, no KD, no Harden.
We're moving forward. Forward.
These guys are great. I said this last week. You can root for these guys. They don't have other agendas that they're shoving down our throat. They're just playing basketball, and they're playing at a high level. And they're great young men, easy to root for. I love the new NBA. I'm coming back. You guys should try it out.
And we have Game 3 of the NHL final tonight. Yes. Series shifts over to Florida. You can't ask for a better start to this series. 2 overtime games.
Can we just hate Brad Marchand, though? Can we just hate him? Scored the OT winner the other night.
He's so good.
Draisaitl and McDavid are putting on a show. Yeah. Man, if you're not watching this is insane. It's such good TV. I was pulling for Edmonton so hard and they had multiple opportunities, but Bobrovsky was too good. And
Edmonton, I tell you what, Florida ain't pushing Edmonton around. Edmonton has matched the intensity and the physical nature, and that's what you have to do. They're the only team
that had 46 shots in both games, I think.
Yeah, they're taking it.
Get 20 shots
to them. I struggle to see how, if you need Skinner to win a game for you compared to Bobrovsky, that's going to be difficult. Edmonton's this is an obvious statement to make, but McDavid and Draisaitl are just going to have to steal it. But they're capable of doing it because right now those are the 2 best players in the world at the moment.
All right, we're going to cut it a little short here today. I've got business here in Nashville to take care of, so thank you guys for joining us. I think we covered it all. Thanks to all of our sponsors, Riveters, Italiano, Golden Diamond Source, On-Site Construction, Third Generation Plumbing, Cafe Paradiso, the Jeeves Law Group, the Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Thank you all so much. We will be back tomorrow in studio, I believe, in beautiful downtown Tampa, and we'll see what kind of trouble we get in here in Nashville. Have a great day, everybody.